pineapples all day.
By the way, you can pay me for that, by the way, Live Well.
But you're still a State fan.
God damn, we're gonna have
brutal.
We're doing fisticuffs by the end of
I thought CVD is supposed to fix everything.
I mean, it can't fix the fact that we put 4 in the first 2 rounds before your top wide receiver got drafted. I mean, have mercy. I mean, if I was an Ole Miss fan, there's a lot of reasons to be embarrassed right now. But I won't even. We won't,
Understood.
This isn't about you and I. This is about the bigger purpose, and that is this party that y'all are throwing. Look at me, segue, casual. You learned that in journalism school.
That you didn't attend.
I did not.
So at all these, like today at all your locations, is it all like different beers at different locations, or is it all kind of the same lineup?
It's similar in that we always pay homage to some of the great Avery classics like White Rascal, Avery IPA, Maharaja.
The staples.
But then what Adam and his team and our team do is we save verticals. So at our North Glen location, they have a 3-year vertical of Tweak, 16, 17, and 18. And then we have some rare barrels from the gold foil labels. And then Adam and the Avery crew are kind enough to give us taproom rarities, some of the most popular being Cloud 9, which is easy drinking, which you need on a day like today. So it takes us months to plan it and years to save up the beers year over year. We have a little secret Avery stash that we hold and keep close.
But Katie, you're forgetting about the beer that you helped create as well. So we went a step further this year.
We did.
And you should talk about that.
So we went a step further this year, and we worked with Colin and the special projects team at Avery, and we made our own sour blend this year. It's a blend of 2 different base sour beers that Avery has, and then we got together with the special projects and people from each location at Parry's, and we sat in a room and we talked about what we like about beer, what we like about pizza, and how we can make a beer that pairs well with pizza. So we made the Ask Again Later sour, and it has fresh pineapple and basil. So it's really meant to pair with pizza and the acidity in the tomato sauce with a little sweetness, and then the kind of herbaceous nature of the basil. It's really, really aromatic and almost a little peppery and finishes tart. It's really awesome. And they're saving some kegs for the Avery Invitational, too. So you can get it here at Parry's and then at the Avery Invitational, and that is it.
It's a neat blend. You guys did a lot of barrel sampling, and so you ended up with 2 different sour beers, 2 different base beers, and the blend of the 2 was really nice. And then you guys decided to put the pineapple and the basil into it. And it's pretty awesome beer.
I just had that.
I know it's our beer, and everything we do is supposedly awesome. But no, truly, Katie, that was awesome.
I thought it was hella good.
All right, let's stop jerking each other off and ask hard-hitting questions here. Do y'all prefer pineapple on a pizza? Because this is going to be another fight for us, if so.
Adam's perfect pizza is on the menu today.
Oh, okay. Let's read what dude, does it have pineapple on it? That would be the most Ole Miss thing ever.
Adam Avery's pizza. Pineapple, ham, jalapenos. God, what a loser. I like my pizza simple, my beer complex.
Okay.
That is not his pizza.
I was literally about to throw this mic down and call this episode over. That sounded like cream cheese bottom. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so your pizza, by the way, today, obviously, it's down here at Parry's. Adam's Avery Pizza is a pepperoni, fresh basil, and black olives. I back the basil play, and that's what kind of excites me about the beer. And you could taste it in Chris's beer. I did have a sip of it. And as a non-beer connoisseur, I can back it. You know, it is a sippable
Thank you.
So well
Thank
done.
you.
What is your stance on pineapple on a pizza?
No, never. I hate it.
All right. Well, then this interview can continue. I'm glad we didn't have to cut this short on everybody. That'd have been awkward. Okay. You mentioned earlier, and this is a question that's been sitting in my head for a couple minutes now, that last year at one of the Parry's locations, you had over 50 beers. Excuse me. Over 50 beers on tap. How many beers you got on, like, in stock or whatever the term would be phrased? How many you got on rotation at the home house?
Well, first of all, I didn't answer your first question, and I think that pineapple on a pizza is not wise. But that's me. Yeah. It's totally me. If you do whatever you want to do, you want to bastardize a pizza and put pineapple on it, you go ahead. It's fine. I don't care. It doesn't matter. To me, I'm more of a traditionalist. That's what I like. And pizza, traditional. Beer, innovative. So, to your question.
No, that was a great first answer, though. We're back on the same page.
All right, so question 2. Last year, we made 149 different beers that were on tap at our brewery, at least at our brewery. As far as like what we produced and were able to put out into the market in a meaningful manner, 30 beers, at least 30 beers. And when I mean meaningful manner, I mean be able to ship outside of the state and those sorts of things. Not like what Katie can come in to the brewery and say, hey, can we get one of those? Because we have a ton of beer that we have for our tap room. So we have a pretty large tap room and we go through a lot of beer there. So 30 beers on tap, always changing. 10 of them typically are only available at the brewery. But then we share them with friends, and, Katie comes in and says, I'll take one of those, one of those. So you got a big shopping cart. And she's just like, that, add it up, ship it.
Where do we get one of those shopping carts? Do you? That's awesome.
You're working on one right now, buddy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So we actually were in y'all's crib not 3 weeks ago when we were up in Boulder, and that place is, I don't know how new that place is, but it's gnarly as hell. That place is huge, so you can do tours, I guess, after 4 p.m. We came up there for a happy hour and ran into old buddy Ray.
Yeah, shout out to Ray Decker.
Yeah, we always want to give a shout out to friends when we know them.
How long, was it, 4 years?
4 years, yep.
4 years you guys have been there?
So did y'all start, you mentioned the home brew, is it kind of like, Steve Jobs in the garage? Like, was it all like bathroom, bathtub gin, or was it made in the basement? And then now you're sitting on a 12,000 square foot brewery? Is that?
Well, our scalability wasn't quite what Steve experienced. I think he did a little bit better.
Run,
although
right?
He's up there somewhere down there, depending on who you talk to, right?
Shout out to the mock turtlenecks, Tiger.
You bet. God, what was the question? Jesus, I was off on my apple tangent there for a second.
So where did you start? Once you finished the home brewing, was it how'd you get into this huge facility that you're at now?
Oh, God, I mean, just our moniker at my high school was Bulldogs, and that's everybody asks you, how do you get it done?
Bulldogs, huh?
A different class of bulldog.
Oh yeah, so, obviously a younger dog.
Exactly. No, it's all about it's about being a bulldog. It's about tenacity and staying in business. And certainly, we didn't make a dime. Like I said earlier, Dad had to put more money into the business. We borrowed a ton of money from banks at ridiculous interest rates. This is back when interest rates were, on leases was 17, 18%. I mean, it's stupid, what we were paying to keep the business going. But, my dad believed in me, and I believed in in the beers that we were making. And, yeah, man, it's just about, just staying true to your passion and knowing that, hey, if this thing goes under, you're fucked because you don't know what else to do. So my talents are very, very limited. I ended up where I needed to end up.
Dude, my talents are very limited as well. So
I would disagree, Adam.
Oh, thanks.
But hold on, how long were you in that? Was that spot where y'all were in that? Because I moved to Boulder in 2010, and you guys were in right off of Arapahoe, I think. How long were y'all in that little space?
We were there for 22 years.
22 years.
So we had we started with 2,000 square feet, and then every time we would need more space as we grew. For some reason, somebody next door to us would say, oh, hey, we're moving out. And we would say, so it was very karmic in how it all evolved. So in the end, we had 3 different buildings all within 2 city blocks. And so our forklifts were driving around this complex. It was just utterly ridiculous that it actually worked. And we just kept holding out and trying to stash some money and figure out how to, instead of make the tiny step, what's the smart move would have been to move into a pre-existing building, blah, blah, blah. Unfortunately, I'm a dreamer. I got a pipe dream, I'm smoking, pipe dream is let's build the fucking, let's do it. Let's build the Taj Mahal. Let's do this thing. And so, so my dad was always my dad has always been all in, and I was like, man, we're going to do this, but we're really risking a lot. He was like, Adam, we've been risking it for 20 years. He's like, let's just do it. And I was like, let's do it.
Nice.
Dude, well, you mentioned the bulldog mentality, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of Dave Parry kind of doing the same thing. You mentioned he was a grinder, tough nose, classic, salt to the earth, brick by brick.
And guy. Steve was too.
And you just
classic grinder.
The mentality of every bulldog in history.
Yeah,
you see what I did there.
It's very entrepreneurial. he was the best person to do it. You could find him making pizzas on any given night in any one of the locations. You would hear him yelling for the servers to come run their food faster or pick up their beer or whatever he could point out that somebody could be doing, he was.
You talk about him like he's dead. Dave is alive and well.
Dave is alive.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. I saw him last year. I haven't seen him yet, but okay.
Dave is alive and well.
Shout out to Dave and his healthy lifestyle. Yeah, we were not knocking it. It's not dead.
One of the funniest things I've heard from Dave Parry lately is that he's taken up gardening. When I talked to him on the phone the other day,
he's growing weed, huh?
I'm not going to comment on that, but no, I don't think he is. He's fantastic.
Legal. Yeah. Legal, right?
No, I don't think Dave Parry's growing weed. His wife would kill him.
Totally different. Well, let's talk a little bit about, the Parry's grind. Obviously, y'all are killing it. Y'all have a patio full of families, kids learning new words from us this afternoon. Young folks. We got the Avery drinkers over there, the whole team. Hawaiian shirts. I like the festive swag. But at the same time, this isn't y'all's only event. You mentioned a couple other beer collabs and crazy, Winterfest. How'd y'all kind of find y'all's niche in the let's start partnering with the beer teams? Like great minds think alike? Is that what it is?
I think I take my personal cue from people like Avery, and they're innovating every day with great new beers. So how can we do the same thing and preach the good word of craft beer and bring it to people? So I take my cue from the industry itself and really try to find great partners in business. Adam jokes about me shopping by the pallet at the brewery, but I do it because it's great beer and it's great beer to put on tap, and it really demonstrates the talent of their team, and we love to bring it to people. And Dogfish is another great partner of ours. We do a wacky event with them at the fall, and then we cap the end of the year with our Ugly Sweater Party, which is all barrel-aged beers, anything from sours to stouts to porters to whatever people want to put in a barrel in the industry. We will put it on tap for the Ugly Sweater Party, and I usually save a few Averys for that as well. So it's a lot of.
How many you got in your stash?
There's David Parry.
Hey, Dave!
He's quite entertaining.
What's it called? So how many? We mentioned the palate and this secret stash, and we've had guests on that are wine guys and whiskey guys and things of that nature. Mr. Dave Parry, founder of Dank Ass Pizza down here at Parry's Pizza.
What's going on, Chris?
Hey, Kip Wilson, nice to meet you. How are you? Sorry about that. I should have stood up. How many you got in your stash? What's your stash look like? Is it like you got like a box of like bunch of? Yeah, sorry.
We get personal here.
Yeah.
Well, we're pretty close friends by this point. So yes, it is a personal question. What do you have in your stash?
I have a lot of beer in my stash. It's not bottles, it's kegs, and we probably have a couple hundred that I save and store for such occasions like this and throughout the year, and sometimes I just feel like tapping a really cool beer.
I like your style. And so we did just kind of a detour, but I want to introduce Dave. Thank you for joining us here on No Vacancy Colorado. Stone d'Appetit. We're here to taste your pizza. It's paired with dank beer. And we're just kind of getting to know the people behind the journey. If you want to introduce yourself, let the listeners know how awesome I am and, Mr. State, things of that nature.
Sure. No, thanks for having me on. And I appreciate you guys coming out to this event. I think it's our 8th now that we started this crazy idea 8 years ago. And, we're fortunate that Adam and his team allows us to continue this tradition and do this crazy thing each year. So we're thankful.
Okay, so we'll ask you two questions. Adam gave up his mic to you, so he asked us to ask you about the Red Sox. But Katie did kind of preface your backstory as you're a New Yorker. Y'all have gotten kind of run-of-the-mill recently. I think Chris Sale just beat you to the woodshed last year, so that's kind of awkward.
I think we're still winning. I think it's like 29-6 or whatever.
It's May.
Who's keeping score?
Yeah, we keep in track of pre-segregation championships.
Correct.
That's fantastic. I love that. It's like Ole Miss counting national championships in football.
Exactly.
They're not real because they happened during the World Wars. But yeah, so
the 60s, man. The 60s.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing a lot of weird shit in the 60s. Like newspapers for crowning random national champions.
What are you doing right now?
I know. Touche.
Still a thing, my friend.
We're going to dive into that here shortly, but we do want to ask you, Dave. So, what inspired? You found that there wasn't a good enough Za here in town.
Yep.
We've had Josh Pollock from